Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. Do you ever feel like your mind is a crowded room where everyone is shouting at once? In our modern world of relentless notifications, 24-hour news cycles, and the crushing pressure to constantly hustle, true silence has become almost extinct. You might find yourself lying awake at 3 a.m. replaying an awkward conversation from 5 years ago, or spiraling into anxiety about a work presentation that hasn't even happened yet. We are told to relax, but we aren't told how. We are told to find peace, but the world feeds us chaos. The most dangerous noise isn't the traffic outside your window or the television blaring in the other room. It is the unstructured anxiety, the doubt, and the mental clutter living inside your own head. If you do not have a system to process this noise, it will eventually consume you. Today, we are going to hand you the specific tools to silence that noise. We are not talking about writing Dear Diary entries about your crush. We are breaking down 5 ancient, battle-tested journaling protocols used by emperors, slaves, and philosophers. These techniques do not just record your day, they actively restructure your brain to build bulletproof emotional resilience and unshakable clarity. If you are ready to turn the page, master your inner world, and stop being a slave to your emotions, consider subscribing to Timeless Wisdom Official to join our community of wisdom seekers. Let's begin.
Habit number 1. The morning preface, premeditatio malorum. How does your morning usually begin? For most of us in the modern world, it is an act of immediate surrender. The alarm goes off, and before your feet even touch the floor, you reach for your phone. You check your email, you scroll through social media, you see a disturbing headline, or you read a passive-aggressive text message. Instantly, your cortisol spikes. You haven't even brushed your teeth yet, and you are already reacting to the world's agenda, not your own. You are starting the day on defense. The Stoics understood that the morning is sacred ground. It is the time to put on your armor before you step onto the battlefield of life. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor who ruled the known world, didn't wake up expecting a perfect day. He woke up and opened his journal to perform a practice known as premeditatio malorum, or the premeditation of evils. Now, this sounds pessimistic to the modern American ear. We are obsessed with positive thinking and manifesting. We think that if we ignore bad things, they won't happen. The Stoics believed the opposite. They believed that anxiety comes from the gap between what we expect and what reality delivers. When you expect a traffic-free commute and you get a gridlock on the highway, you suffer. When you expect a polite boss and you get a rude one, you feel victimized. The morning preface is the antidote. It is not about borrowing trouble or being negative. It is about inoculation. Just as a vaccine introduces a small amount of a virus to train your immune system, this journaling habit introduces a small amount of stress to train your emotional system. Here is how you apply this. Tomorrow morning, instead of listing what you are grateful for, which is a fine practice, but not a defensive one, write down a morning preface. Look at your calendar. Look at what you have to do. And ask yourself, what could go wrong today? Maybe you have a high-stakes meeting. Write down, the client might hate my proposal. Maybe you have a long drive. Write down, I might get cut off in traffic. But you don't stop there. This is the crucial step. You write a script for how you will handle it. You use the if/then format. Write this down. If the client hates my proposal, then I will remain calm, listen to their feedback without getting defensive, and view it as data to improve, not an attack on my worth. Right? If I get stuck in traffic, then I will use that time to listen to an audiobook or practice patience, rather than poisoning my own blood with road rage. By writing this down, you have already lived through the worst-case scenario in the safety of your journal. When the client actually criticizes you, or the traffic actually stops, your brain doesn't panic. It says, I've been here before. I know what to do. You move from a state of fragile hope to a state of prepared confidence. You stop hoping for an easy life and start building the strength to endure a difficult one. Habit number 2. The dichotomy audit, the circle of control. Once you have prepared for the day, you must address the single greatest source of modern neurosis, the obsession with things we cannot control. Look at the average person's mental burden. We worry about the economy. We worry about political elections. We worry about what our coworkers think of us. We worry about whether it will rain on our vacation. We spend massive amounts of emotional energy trying to bend the universe to our will, and when the universe refuses to bend, we break. Epictetus, the slave-turned-philosopher, taught that there is only one way to happiness, and that is to cease worrying about things which are beyond the power of our will. He called this the dichotomy of control. Most people understand this intellectually, but they fail to practice it emotionally. That is where the journal comes in. This technique is called the dichotomy audit. It is a tool to surgically separate your concerns, slashing away the anxiety that doesn't belong to you. When you feel overwhelmed, when your chest is tight and your mind is racing, open your journal to a fresh page. Draw a line right down the center, creating 2 columns. Label the left column, "Not up to me." Label the right column, "Up to me." This is not a to-do list. It is a reality check. In the left column, list everything stressing you out that you do not have total authority over. Will I get the promotion? That is up to your boss. Will the stock market crash? That is up to global economics. Will my partner be in a good mood? That is up to them. What did that person mean by that comment? That is inside their head, not yours. Write them all down. Vomit them onto the page. Then, move to the right column. For every item on the left, find the corresponding element that is actually within your power. You cannot control if you get the promotion, but you can control the quality of your work, your punctuality, and your preparation. Write that down. You cannot control the stock market, but you can control your saving habits and your spending. You cannot control your partner's mood, but you can control your own patience, your kindness, and how you communicate. Once both columns are full, look at the left column. Really look at it. Realize that every ounce of energy you spend worrying about that list is wasted. It is like screaming at the rain to stop falling. It changes nothing and only leaves you hoarse and wet. Then, perform a physical ritual. Take your pen and strike a line through the items in the left column. Cross them out. As you do this, tell yourself, "I am releasing this. It is not mine to carry." Focus your eyes entirely on the right column. This is your circle of control. This is where your power lives. This is where your agency lives. By ignoring the left and doubling down on the right, you reclaim your energy. You stop being a victim of circumstance and become a master of your own actions. Habit number 3. The objective description, stripping the narrative. Now that you have separated what you can control from what you cannot, we must address the most subtle way you sabotage your own peace. The stories you tell yourself. Human beings are storytelling machines. We don't just experience reality, we interpret it. We layer our emotions, our insecurities, and our past traumas on top of simple events. Let's say you text a friend and they don't reply for 6 hours. That is the raw fact. But that is not what you write in your mental diary, is it? You tell yourself a story. They are ignoring me. They are mad at me. I must have said something wrong. Nobody respects my time. You have taken a neutral event, silence, and wrapped it in a layer of suffering. You have turned a delay into a tragedy. The Stoics called this hypolepsis, value judgment. They understood that it is rarely the event itself that hurts us, but rather our judgment of the event. A rainy day is just water falling from the sky. It is only miserable if you decided you wanted a picnic. To combat this, Marcus Aurelius practiced a journaling habit we will call the objective description. He was the most powerful man on earth, living in absolute luxury, yet he constantly wrote in his journal to strip things of their glamour and their horror. He would look at a bottle of the finest, most expensive vintage wine, something people would kill for, and write, "This is just fermented grape juice." He would look at his royal purple robes and write, "This is just sheep's wool dyed with the blood of shellfish." He wasn't being cynical. He was stripping away the narrative to see the raw data. He was refusing to let objects or events hold power over him. You need to apply this same ruthless objectivity to your problems. When something upsets you, a rude comment, a financial setback, a breakup, use your journal to perform the reporter exercise. Imagine you are a court reporter. Your job is to record exactly what happened, but you are forbidden from using emotional adjective. You cannot use words like terrible, humiliating, unfair, or disaster. You can only state the physics of the situation. Instead of writing, "My boss humiliated me in front of the team and destroyed my confidence," you write, "My boss raised his voice during the 10 a.m. meeting. He stated that the report had errors. I felt a sensation of heat in my face." Do you feel the difference? The first version is a melodrama where you are the victim. The second version is a factual report. The first version spikes your blood pressure. The second version allows you to look at the situation calmly. When you strip away the adjectives, you strip away the pain. You realize that the insult was just sound waves moving through the air. You realize that the failure was just a data point indicating you need to change your strategy. By practicing this habit, you reclaim your power. You stop reacting to the ghosts and monsters you create in your head, and you start dealing with the simple reality in front of you. You become impossible to offend, because you refuse to accept the insult as anything more than noise. Habit number 4. The view from above, cosmic perspective. Let's move to the fourth habit. This one is designed to cure a specific ailment that plagues us all, the trap of the immediate. We live our lives with our noses pressed against the glass. We are so zoomed in on our daily struggles that they appear massive. A flat tire feels like a catastrophe. A passive-aggressive email feels like a declaration of war. A decline in your bank account feels like the end of your survival. When you are zoomed in this tight, your ego is the center of the universe. Every minor inconvenience feels like a personal attack by fate. You become rigid, defensive, and perpetually stressed because you have lost all sense of scale. The Stoics had a remedy for this. It is a spiritual exercise that dates back to Plato, known as the view from above. Imagine for a moment that you could detach your consciousness from your body. Imagine floating up out of the room you are sitting in right now. You rise above your house, then your city. You see the grid of streets, the cars moving like ants. You rise higher, above the clouds, until you see the curvature of the earth. You see the continents, the oceans, and the slow rotation of the planet suspended in the infinite black void of space. From this vantage point, where is that urgent email? Where is that person who cut you off in traffic? Where is your embarrassment from that awkward thing you said 3 years ago? They are invisible. They are dust. Modern astronauts call this the overview effect. When they see Earth from space, they report a profound cognitive shift. They realize that borders are imaginary, that conflicts are petty, and that we are all part of one fragile, interconnected ecosystem. They return to Earth with a sense of peace that is hard to shake. You don't need a rocket ship to access this peace. You only need your journal. Tonight, try the zoom out script. Step 1. Write down the problem that is consuming you. Describe it in detail. Maybe it's a debt you owe or a conflict with a family member. Acknowledge it. Step 2. Write about your immediate surroundings. Your neighborhood. Realize that thousands of people within 5 miles of you are dealing with similar struggles right now. You are not alone in this. Step 3. Widen the lens. Write about your country. Think of the millions of people living their lives, falling in love, getting sick, recovering, and working. Think of the sheer scale of human activity happening at this exact second. Step 4. Go cosmic. Place your problem in the context of human history. Think of the billions of humans who lived before you. They worried about their jobs, their reputations, and their health. They are all gone now. Their worries have evaporated. The sun rose and set before them, and it will rise and set long after you are gone. This sounds depressing to some, but to a Stoic, it is liberating. It is not meant to make you feel insignificant. It is meant to make your problems feel insignificant. When you realize how small you are in the grand scheme of time and space, the weight on your shoulders lightens. You realize that life is short, and spending it angry or anxious about trivial things is a waste of the miracle of consciousness. You stop sweating the small stuff because you finally see that, compared to the cosmos, it is all small stuff. You return to your body not with indifference, but with a renewed focus on what actually matters: your character, your capacity to love, and your present moment. Habit number 5. The Evening Tribunal, the Seneca Review. Finally, we arrive at the end of the day. The sun has set, the work is done, and the house is quiet. This brings us to the 5th and perhaps most critical habit, the Evening Tribunal. How do most of us end our days? We are exhausted. We are mentally drained. So, we seek distraction. We binge-watch a series on Netflix until our eyes glaze over, or we scroll through social media until we pass out with the phone in our hand. We try to numb the brain so we can sleep. The problem with this approach is that it leaves the day unprocessed. If you made a mistake today, maybe you snapped at your spouse, or you procrastinated on a project, or you broke your diet, and you don't acknowledge it, you are destined to repeat it tomorrow. You are sleepwalking through your own life, stuck in a loop of habits you never chose. Seneca, one of the greatest Stoic writers, had a different routine. He treated his sleep not just as rest, but as a reset button. He wrote, "When the light has been removed and my wife has fallen silent, I examine my entire day and go back over what I've done and said, hiding nothing from myself, passing nothing by." He put himself on trial every single night. But, and this is the key that unlocks the whole practice, he did not do it as a tyrant judge. He did it as a compassionate friend. He didn't beat himself up. He simply reviewed the game tape. Top athletes watch recordings of their games to see where they missed a shot or where their defense crumbled. They don't watch the tape to feel like losers. They watch it so they don't make the same mistake in the next game. You must do the same for your character. Tonight, before you close your eyes, open your journal one last time. You don't need to write a novel. You just need to answer 3 golden questions. Question 1. What did I do well today? We are often our own harshest critics. We ignore the 10 things we did right and obsess over the 1 thing we did wrong. You need to train your brain to recognize virtue. Did you resist the urge to gossip? Did you focus deeply on your work for an hour? Did you help a stranger? Write it down. Reinforce the behavior you want to keep. Tell yourself, I am capable of discipline. I proved it today. Question 2. What did I do poorly? This requires radical honesty. You cannot fix what you will not face. Did you let your temper slip? Did you waste 2 hours on your phone? Did you act out of ego? Write it down plainly. Do not make excuses. Do not say, I yelled because I was tired. Just write, I yelled. Strip away the defense mechanisms. Question 3. How could I have done it better? This is the forward-looking step. Don't wallow in guilt. Guilt is a useless emotion. It is just looking backward and feeling bad. Stoicism is about looking forward and doing better. If you yelled, write, next time I feel that anger rising, I will take a 10-second pause before speaking. If you wasted time, write, tomorrow I will leave my phone in the other room while I work. When you do this, you close the loop on the day. You lay your burdens down on the paper so you don't have to carry them into your sleep. You go to bed with a clean conscience, knowing that while you weren't perfect today, you have a specific plan to be better tomorrow. Over weeks and months, this nightly tribunal compounds. You stop making the same old mistakes, and you start evolving into the person you were meant to be. The weapon of the mind. we have covered 5 habits. The morning preface to armor your mind, the dichotomy audit to focus your power, the objective description to strip away drama, the view from above to regain perspective, and the evening tribunal to ensure continuous growth. But listening to this video is not enough. Passive consumption of wisdom is just another form of entertainment. If you close this video and do nothing, nothing changes. The anxiety remains. The chaos remains. The noise remains. Journaling, in the Stoic tradition, is not a hobby. It is not something you do just to have a record of your memories. It is a weapon. It is the sword with which you cut through the lies you tell yourself, and the shield that protects your peace from a chaotic world. The blank page is your training ground. It is the one place in the world where you can be completely honest. It is the gymnasium where you build the muscles of your character. If you can master your thoughts in ink, you can master your actions in life. You do not need to be a writer. You do not need to be poetic. You do not need to be perfect. You only need to be consistent. So, here is my challenge to you. Tonight, do not just go to sleep. Buy a notebook, or find an old one gathering dust in a drawer. Pick up a pen, and start the work. Build the fortress within your own mind, so that no matter what the world throws at you tomorrow, you will be ready to meet it with tranquility and strength. Thank you for investing your most valuable resource, your time, with Timeless Wisdom Official today. In a world fighting for your attention, we are honored that you chose to spend it seeking depth and clarity. We hope these practices bring you the peace you deserve. If this video added value to your life, please subscribe to our channel, like this video, and share it with someone who might be silently struggling. You never know how much a simple share might help a friend find their way. And we want to hear from you. We read every single comment because we are learning alongside you. Tell us below, which of these 5 habits are you going to try first? Are you going to start with the morning preface or end with the evening tribunal? Let us know your commitment. Stay wise, stay resilient, and see you in the next video.